Hi all, welcome back to our channel Nursery to Varsity. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about the data visualization part in our language, and we are covering box plot, line graph and scattered plot.
Data visualization, box plot, line chart, and scatter plot. What is box plot? A box plot is a standardized way of displaying the distribution of the data based on the 5-number summary. And the 5-number summary is the minimum number present in the data set, the first quartile, median, third quartile, and the maximum number. So, what is first quartile number? The first quartile is defined as the middle number between the smallest number and the median of the data set, and the third quartile is the middle number between the median and the highest value of the data set. A box plot is created by using the box plot function. Box plot helps us knowing the distribution of the data in the data set. Its graph represents the 5-number summary. And box plot, we have the function as box plot, and the parameters are x, it represents the vector, data, it represents the data frame, main describes the title of the chart, names, it represents the label of the group under each box plot, and variable width, as the name suggests, it is used to draw the width of the box. Notch. A notch is a small hinge that is created when you create a box plot. So coming to the RStudio, here we have empty cars. Empty cars is a set of data that is already present within this RStudio, and in order to access that you just need to write empty cars and you need to run, and you will get a numerous amount of data that is already present in RStudio, right? So in the box plot, we are working on these two columns, that is miles per gallon and the number of cylinders, right? So we are taking the input as empty cars. We have left the row as blank. So we are taking all the rows and only two columns. Those are MPG and cylinders, right? And we are printing the head input, and this head will represent the first 6 rows of this data, right? And we are working on two columns. See, so we are running the statement. You can see that it has printed the head, that means the first 6 rows of the data set. And if you want to print the last 6 rows of the data set, you can write tail over here instead of head. So tail represents the last 6 rows of the data set, right? So we are running this box plot statement, and you can see, so we have taken the data as empty cars, so this is working on the data that we've already seen. Xlab is the label on the x-axis, ylab is the label on the y-axis, main is the title of the chart, notch, so notch is these crosses, these notches you can see over here, right? So this comes when you write the notch value as true. Now we are taking notch value as false. So you can see the difference in that, right? So we're running the statement. See, so we're not getting any notches over here. So this is how you can change your look of the box plot whichever way you want to use, right? And width, it is taking the complete width, and when I'm writing the where width as false and we are running the statement, so you can see it has expanded the width, right? And call are the colors we have given to maximum, medium, and minimum. These are the names on the x-axis, and the colors are green, yellow, and red. See? So this represents the maximum mileage, this represents the medium mileage, and this minimum represents the minimum mileage. Right? So this is how you can work on the box plot. Now coming back to the slide, line chart. So what is line chart? A line chart is a type of a chart that displays information as a series of data points called the markers, and they are connected by straight line segments. So the line chart has some points and some lines. So you can create a line chart with only points or with only lines or with both. So we will see how they work. And a line chart is created by using the plot function, and it is used to identify the data trends. So the plot function, we have the parameters as v, that represents the vector, xlab label on the x-axis, ylab label on the y-axis. So this type you can define whether you want all the points or you want all the lines or you want both, right? And call represents the color that you want to give to your points and lines, right? So let's look into the RStudio line chart. So here we have taken two variables A and B wherein I have entered some marks like 40, 33, 28, 34, 41, right? So we are running this variable wherein we are entering the marks, and then we want to plot these marks, and we have taken the vector as A and the type is O. So O represents points and lines both. Color, we want the points and lines to be of the red color. X lab label on the x-axis, Y lab label on the y-axis. So we are creating a graph subject versus marks, right? And the title of the graph is marks chart. So we are running this statement, and you can see here we have received the points and the lines, and the color is red, right? If you want only the lines to be created and no points you want in your graph, so you can write L over here in the type, and now you can run the statement, and you can see we have received only the lines in our chart. And if we want only the points in our chart, so we can write P in the type and we can run the statement, and you can see we are getting only the points but no lines, right? So this is how you can create your own line chart. Now coming back to the slide. Scatter plot. What is a scatter plot? A scatter plot is a graph in which the values of two variables are plotted along two axes. So the pattern it draws, it reveals a correlation. And a scatter plot is created by using plot function. So this is the same way we have created the line graph. And scatter plot shows many points that represents one variable from x-axis and another variable from y-axis, right? And the parameters that we have in this scatter plot are x, that represents the value from the x-axis or the horizontal coordinate; y, it represents the values from the y-axis or the vertical coordinate; x lab, it represents the label on the x-axis; y lab represents the label on the y-axis. Main is the title of the chart. Lim, so this will represent the limit of the values. So x lim represents the limit of the values on the x-axis, y lim represents the limit of the values on the y-axis, and axis, it indicates whether both the axes can be drawn on a plot. Scatter plot. So we are taking input as the empty cars we have already seen, and we are taking only these two columns, right? And we are taking the head, that is the first six rows. So we are running the statements, right? So we have got the first six rows, and we are working on the weight and mileage. So earlier we worked on the mileage per gallon and cylinders, number of cylinders. So here we are working on the weight and mileage per gallon. So we are plotting the graph. We have entered the limit of the x-axis from 2.3 to 4, because we can see the values of the weight is within 2 to 4, right? And y limit is the values from 15 to 30. So these are the values that lies within the range from 15 to 30, right? So x lab label of x-axis, y lab label of y-axis. Main is the weight versus mileage. This is the title of the chart. So we are running this plot function, and you can see we have received these values that represents, every dot represents the values on the x-axis and y-axis. So this is how scatter plot works.
I hope you understood the concept, but in case you find any issues, you can write the comment in the below comment box, or you can email us on nur2var@gmail.com.